Hello and welcome to Talk Good Game. It's just finished. West Ham United 0, Manchester City 5. Well, they had an extra goal, then they had a penalty save that got retaken. We'll come on to that in a second. We'll start with the first half, Charlie. Half time it was 1-0 Man City. A goal which was down the other end, but it looked like it had a sort of slice of luck, if you like, a slice of fortune about it. Good play, got 1-2 going behind Creswell, ball across the face of the box that, I believe Jesus had a shot and it came off Diop and went in, or Diop tried to clear it and it hit Jesus and went in, whatever. But there was a little bit of luck about it. But what did you make of the first half in general?
I was really happy for the first 20-25 minutes. I thought we played really well in that period. And it was pretty much evened. When we got the ball to Haller and had a lot of people around him, like that moment we spoke about at half-time, the one where he chests it to Anderson, takes a bunch of people out of the game. I mean, there was class there. And up until that moment, I thought we were really good. But after the goal happened, it sort of just killed any momentum we had, to be honest. Like, it went a bit... I don't want to say that's when they started dominating, but the machine started whirring and you started to see what was to come. But by and large, the first half had a lot of positives for me, and I think that if that goal didn't happen, and like you said, it was a bit of slice of luck about it, despite how easy it was to slice our defence open with it, I think it could have been a much more different game, but that's just the way it goes, isn't it?
I thought we played really well in the first half. For the first 10-15 minutes, I thought it was maybe edging in our favour, but we weren't troubling the goalkeeper. We were having enough bits and pieces in and around the box without creating too much. I thought Haller and Antonio was holding the ball up well. I thought Anderson and Lanzini and Rocha were linking up well and trying to sort of get as close together as possible. I was really happy at half time, even 1-0 down. I thought, you know what, I fancy us to go out there and cause a little bit of trouble. I thought we looked at our bench and thought there's just a couple of players on there that we get the subs right. A couple of players on there could help swing the game in our favour a little bit, and they had their slice of luck in the first half. And I thought, if we can get a slice of luck as well, we're in here. We can do something. But I was happy at half time, despite being 1-0 down. The subs, will come on to them, because then it was pretty quickly. City came out in the second half for sort of playing in their first gear, if you like, and it wasn't long after. It was 2-0. Raheem Sterling, the ball, they somehow got through the middle of our team, really, and then Raheem Sterling De Bruyne gave it to Sterling, and he did what he's been doing for the last 2 years or so. He just slotted under Fabianski, but that was a warning a little bit, because we didn't see that City in the first half. I don't think we've seen them, so there was a warning there, but it just demonstrates just how good they can be.
Yeah, that's when they stepped up into world class gear. They came out in that second half, and I think a lot of us have watched that documentary of Pep just screaming at the players, and I think that's probably what happened, because they came out in another gear in the second half. And like you say, when they turn it on, they're next to impossible to stop. Like you say, they sort of got through our midfield, they sort of got through the middle of the pitch, and that's just because you watch it and you go, how the hell has that happened? Because they're just that good. De Bruyne with a touch of class turns once, bang, done. Pass from the middle, bang, done. It's when they're in full flow, they're almost impossible to stop. And like you say, we didn't take our warning shot at all, because what was it, 2 minutes, 3 minutes to the next one again? It's almost the same thing again.
Yeah, the first goal was a 1-2 behind Creswell, and then the third goal was a 1-2 behind Ryan Fredericks. Again, quick passing by City, one touch passing. And when the goal had happened, right, Sterling got in behind Fredericks, gave it to Jesus, tapped into an empty net. And when you got there, we sort of looked at it, myself and Jay, who's holding the camera, looked at each other and went, well, with City play like that, there's not too much you can do about it. They're just that good. But VAR then came about, and so there was quite a wait. There was a good 2 minutes or so. Well, it felt like quite a wait in the stadium, because for those who were at home and might not have seen the screen, basically the stadium set, the announcer came out, there was a VAR check. Then there's like a Cadbury's graphic that goes on the screen to say VAR check, and that's it. So you're sort of sitting there for 2 minutes and everybody's ready to kick off again, and then Mike Dean just picks the ball up and says, actually nah, it's offside. So the cheer went up 2-0. It does show you why they've changed the decision. So Raheem Sterling looks like his shoulder blade was offside for that one. But is that the benefits of VAR?
It is, and I think the thing that everyone said about VAR, about it killing atmospheres and stuff, showed that it wasn't true. Because when the third goal went in, the stadium was dead. But then when it got reversed, it was a weird moment. Everyone just sort of went a bit mad and cheering the fact that they hadn't scored, which is a bit sad in a way, but you know what I mean. And all of a sudden, for that 5 minute period after that, it sort of carried on.
Keep going.
The atmosphere was picked up. And if we capitalised on that, you could have seen a comeback happening. There was a turning point, a moment in that match, but it just didn't happen because, well, we couldn't capitalise on it. But I think VAR's. I mean, we'll probably talk about it a bit more in a second, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, it did. There was an atmosphere uplift, if you like, when that got called off, because we'd had little to cheer about for the first hour. We had Haller's sort of half attempt overhead kick, which bobbled into the hands of Ederson. But while we were doing well, his positive play, we hadn't tested Ederson, so it was the first thing we had go in our favour, and it's the first thing we could cheer about. So the crowd did cheer. And I think the players responded a little bit for a short period of time. We upped the tempo a bit, and then Hernandez has had, I think it was at 2-0, Hernandez had his header, really good save by Ederson. Haller had his, and it sort of came off the post or got tipped onto the post and stuff. But when you play City, you're only going to get one chance. You need to take it, and I think that would have made it 2-1 and put us really back in the game, and the atmosphere would have then been completely different. But you don't take your chances, you get punished.
Yeah, and you don't get many against City, like you say. I think, to be honest, we created a lot. Even if we lacked that final ball occasionally, we lacked that final just little bit to find that bit in the box to make it work. But there were times where we could have created a bit more. And against a team like City, who have spent, I mean, how much have they spent on fullbacks this summer alone? I mean, they've spent a hell of a lot of money on their goalkeeper defence. By the way, Ederson was incredible today. I thought he was great. You can't not take those chances, but you can't also not generate that many against City. It's a difficult conundrum, and yeah.
Not too long later, it was 3-0, but this was the pick of the bunch. Riyad Mahrez picked the ball up out wide, started drifting in. You could just see waiting, and we all expected him to pull the trigger, because he did in the first half. He pulled the trigger from a similar position, world class save from Fabianski. This time he just dinks it. Raheem Sterling's there all on his own chest, waits for Fabianski to come out and then sort of just knocks over the top of him. I mean, that is just, the pass is just incredible, but the finish is so composed as well. And there's a couple of times, not just for finishing, but for the final passes and stuff, I think that's what we were lacking a little bit today, just that calmness and composure. But City had it in abundance, and that goal was just, sometimes you just got to say, well played.
It's like playing FIFA on amateur, isn't it? It's just the way, like, they just chip it over you as if you're not even there. It's just unreal. And Sterling is world class. He's just as good as anyone else is in this league, basically. That finish was ridiculous, like utterly ridiculous. There aren't many other players who would stay that composed and then still finish it in such a stupid fashion as that. You have to full credit to both Sterling and Mahrez, because that was beautiful.
Goal number 4 is the most controversial. I say most controversial, it's the only controversial one. The penalty was given. Now, there's no complaints about the penalty. The fans knew it was a penalty before Mike Dean blew, and even when Mike Dean blew, it still said VAR, check the fans. So I thought, no, there's no chance, that is 100% a pen. You could see it from a mile away, no doubt in that whatsoever. But Aguero steps up, takes his pen, Fabianski gets the save. Again, we get that little uplift of atmosphere. Everybody was celebrating. You can see Fabianski sort of cheering to the crowd as they say, come on, let's get it. But that was short-lived, because 30 seconds later, VAR check, and everyone's sitting there thinking, what are you checking? You saved it, what's the problem here? And then turns out there's another penalty, but at this point no one really knows why there's another penalty. And then Aguero steps up, bang, scores it. No good pen the second time. His first pen was awful for what it's worth, a really bad penalty. Second pen blasts into the corner. Then you see it on the VAR screen, it comes up, and it's because Fabianski's come off his line. Now, I don't have a problem with VAR ruling this out, because that's what VAR is for, enforcing the law. It's the rule that's stupid. The new rule this season is about focusing on a keeper not coming off his line until the ball is kicked. Now, that's always been the rule in theory, but the referees don't enforce it, because it's almost like they're applying common sense, and that is the keeper's going to come off his line. And when you look at the still that they put up on the screen there, he's come off his line, but his feet haven't even touched the ground. He's sort of like in mid-air, come off the line, ready to go to the side again. And I just think the keepers almost need that slight half a second, 1 second advantage, because it's getting to the point now that if a striker can put the ball in the corner, it's going to go in. Keepers cannot wait until the ball is kicked and then get to the corner. It's almost incredible. You're asking far too much of the keeper. But this caused a lot of sort of confusion and the first sort of negativity towards VAR within the stadium, and it's only match day 2 of the whole season.
To be fair, I think VAR had a negative perception amongst the fans before that. the amount of times I've heard someone in a stadium today say this is going to ruin the game, or VAR this, VAR that. I mean, it's just is what it is. Like, its introduction was controversial because of what it is, and it will remain controversial. The thing is that, like you say, ultimately it's just there to enforce the rules. It's just another way to enforce the rules. I think today was honestly the best I've seen it implemented in football. Some of the decisions were so quick. Like, literally they go to the line, and as we're setting up for a kick-off or whatever after a goal, it's already been checked, it's done, we're ready to go again. I think that showing it in the stadium, letting everyone see, and I assume for the people at home, given it's the Premier League, I assume they also see it at home, I think that's the best way to do it. It's not perfect by any stretch of imagination, but I think it's just there to help the referees, and ultimately today we saw it help us and we saw it go against us, but that's because both of those decisions were the right ones in the end. Like you say, with that one specifically, it's just about this rule is stupid. The rule needs changing, and it's been made redundant by VAR in a way.
Man City made it 5-0. Raheem Sterling got his hat-trick. Again, good play by City, more composure by Raheem. 5-0. I mean, the game was over at that point. I think the fans had given up a little bit. I think the players on both sides had given up a little bit. It was just one of them, just getting to the final whistle type thing. But on reflection, what do you make of the game from West Ham's perspective?
Somehow we've come out 5-0 loss, and I'm still sort of positive about it. I think defensively we knew the errors and we knew the frailties that were there already. I don't think there's any difference in that. I think that the attacking wise, there were times early on where I was really happy with us. And against a better team, I think we'd take those chances. I mean, Haller reportedly came out and said it in the press that he's hoping to get a touch, and when he did, he was absolutely class. I mean, there was a lot of positives to come out of that, despite being absolutely walloped, and the things that were bad that we sort of already knew were bad.
That will be the first time City scored 5 today, and I think towards the end of the game it was sort of we'd given up a little bit. I thought we played really well, especially in the first half. Really happy with the first half. I thought we were still in the game. I thought, you know what, we've got a chance here. I think the substitutions were a bit of a letdown for me. I thought taking Antonio off helped City more than it helped us. I think while Antonio's, there's question marks over his final ball and that, his power and his pace was giving them something to think about, and I think when we took him off, I think the City defence probably felt a bit more relaxed actually. Then Wilshere, I assume he had a knock, because I thought he was playing really well in the centre midfield and had to go off for Snodgrass, and obviously the last sub, Anderson, wasn't feeling it and went 4-4-2 to try and get something back. But I felt the first sub sort of dented us a little bit. I don't think Antonio deserved to go off. I think Pellegrini's almost felt like he has to make some sort of substitution, perhaps at 1-0 down at half time. He's got to try something. He's got his new £25 million signing on the bench. I have to introduce him, and I think it's the wrong sub to make, but I thought we played really well. I think, it's like you said there, got beat 5-0, but we feel positive. It wasn't a 5-0 game, I think 5-0 is a bit harsh on West Ham today. I think City are just world class, and they'll do that to other teams, but just the way the game went, when they scored, how they scored, the way the VAR went to an extent as well, I think it just knocked the stuffing out of us one by one. There was a domino effect, and we were seeing that towards the end, that we were just a bit down. But a couple of more questions. Players, take your pick, as always. Praise or criticise, choose your own players.
Lanzini continues his good form. I thought some of his passes were really, really good. The link-up play between Haller, Anderson, Lanzini and Antonio at times was really, really good, especially in that first half. I thought Diop, although the high line doesn't help him, I think at times made some incredible challenges. I thought Ryan Fredericks recovered well. I think his crossing and that is awful, but I think he recovered well at times and made some really good challenges. And Fabianski, that save we mentioned at half time together, the one from, who was it?
Mahrez.
That was amazing. Proper in bottom corner. I thought that was going in, and he made a great save. So yeah. Chicharito tried when he came on, I guess.
I think Haller, some of Haller's touches was fantastic. That chest down was unbelievable. That was really unbelievable. Some of his, he plucked out of he plucked out of mid-air once at one point as well. He just took it down onto his foot, just stayed beside his feet as well. I really loved the touches. I thought Wilshere was really good. I thought he was buzzing. Man City got their tactics spot on, which was, they've always done it. Pep's always said it, I prefer my players to foul and tackle, and in the first half especially, all they did at one point was foul. But we were forcing them to do those fouls, which meant City were worried about us, and Jack was on the end of it most of the time. He was on the end of all the fouls. I thought Rice was superb. I thought there was one tackle he did in the first half in particular. It was just brilliant. He was just backing off, bang, and he went with the tackle. I think it was on Sterling on the end of our box. Won the ball, took the player out of the game. I think there's question marks over both fullbacks today, but that's one of the toughest games they'll have. I think we need a little bit of context, and I thought at times, periods, I thought they were both doing okay. But I do think when City targeted them, they exposed both of them defensively pretty quickly. I'll keep my man of match for the end, but Lanzini, Anderson, Fornals, difficult game to get into. I thought they did okay. We'll see better, we'll see worse than them. There's no one I thought had a real bad game. But final words in your man of match, please, Charlie.
I feel stupidly positive after that. We expected it to be bad. I think we both predicted it wouldn't be that bad, but they're a world-class team, and they look to have left off exactly where they ended last season, basically, and carried on. So it's fair play to them. They deserved the win, maybe not by that much, but they definitely deserved a convincing victory. And man of the match for me, just Haller. He's just got a bit of class about him, and you can see in a different situation where he's not up against the 100 200 million pounds of defence or whatever stupid hell it is. He's going to look brilliant. Some of those touches were class, some of the hold-up play was class. He worked hard, he tracked back when Antonio looked like he needed the rest in the first half. He tracked back for him, covered him. I mean, I couldn't fault him today. I thought he was brilliant.
I think there's no complaints about the outcome. City deserves the 3 points easily. Season starts next week, I guess. I know it's a bit of a cliche thing to say, but we came in here thinking this is a bonus points game. Get anything, we'll be delighted. And all we want to see today was positives. I think we've got enough positives to take away from today and heading into the game next week against Brighton. It's not a shock result. This is what people expected. We've always said the way we play, we're going to concede goals. We conceded goals today. But I'll tell you what, playing like that at some games, I think we'll do well this season. At the start of the season, I thought 8th. I'm not going to change my prediction after one game. I thought there's enough there to take from it and be positive about. My man of match is Issa Diop. I thought he was absolutely superb. I mean, it's mental giving a centre back man of match after conceding 5. But there's a couple of tackles he did. I thought was just absolutely outstanding. There was one point, I think it was Sterling. It was in the bottom, way to pull the trigger. In he come, won the ball, sliding tackle. They're risky, especially with VAR now. If you do a sliding tackle in the box and get it wrong, you get away with it sometimes. With VAR, you don't get away with it now. It gets called back and it's given. But he was just superb today. Diop was just unbelievable. And at one point he was running up the pitch trying to get a goal because I think he was just getting fed up. But anyway, that's it from me and Charlie. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, we'll see you there. Also before we disappear, check out the fan cams. We spoke to some other fans to get their opinions on the game, so check them out as well. And we'll see you in a bit.